she left work. And upon leaving work and going home, after that, Emma was never heard from again. Um, there has been obstacle after obstacle in trying to solve Emma's murder, to bring her murderer to justice. Um, the only thing missing was Emma. Emma's purse, Emma's cell phone, Emma's money, everything Emma owned in this world, including the little dogs she loved so well, was at her residence. This was at midnight. This is down a very long driveway in the rural part of the area of Halifax County. Um, Emma was a small woman, a very petite lady. It's hard to imagine without a flashlight, without anything, um, that any person with common sense could imagine this small petite lady venturing up close to a mile-long driveway by herself in the dark, with coyotes, with bears, with everything else around her. And then she just poof. It's just like Emma was gone. Um, Emma, this was not in her character. Emma, um, Emma was very, very creature of habit, and she was very dedicated and loyal to her store in Cody. Emma was a survivor of domestic abuse in the current situation in which she's in. There were charges that had been filed that were dropped. Um, and statistically, women that are in abuse situations, unfortunately, I've experienced it myself. We tend to do those things. We tend to do it because we think we love the person. Um, it's a crazy way to perceive things, but anybody that's not ever gone through it doesn't understand it. Um, in November, body was recovered off an adjacent road, very near her property. Um, family.
We're gonna have her come back onto the line. It just got cut off for a second, so I'm gonna wait for her to come right back on the line. This is probably one of the most heart-wrenching stories I've ever heard of. Um, she's coming back on. Okay, sorry about
Sorry
that. I
about
don't know
that.
what
And
happened.
then the residence in which she and her husband both lived, they were currently in the process of a separation. This was told by family members. Um, Emma was residing in the basement, he upstairs. Um, Halifax County came in and did it, basically was looking at it as a drug investigation. And they believed what the spouse of Emma's was saying about her. Um, However, things have shown to prove very different than what was told. Um, Emma, like I said,
We're waiting for her to get back on the line. There was a short disconnection. I want y'all to know that this case is unsolved, that Robin is talking about at this time period, and
Emma
all
worked 7 days
information.
a week, pretty much a very dedicated person to her community. Get a group up to support, to try to help. bring her killer to justice. Um, the resolution to this case is basic elementary. There is no reason that this case can't be solved. The problem is that Halifax isn't qualified. Um, they're investigators. Some of them may be good people. Um, and I'm not, right now, I won't name names, but they're not qualified to handle this type of case. It would be like Barney Fife trying to investigate O.J. Simpson's murder. And I'm not trying to say that to be mean. I'm just stating facts. The problem, therefore, runs with this. They have been asked numerous times, close to the point of begging them to let assistance coming in. The Aware Foundation with Kenny Gerald's has been asked. They wanted to come in, they offered to come in, and they were turned away. We want, at this point in time, 3 years down the road, we want the FBI in. Emma deserves that. Her remains, as I'll go back to that, her remains were found in November. A search warrant for the property in which she went missing on and was missing from June until November was not even issued till the following year in February of 2018. Now you have a missing person that has been missing for 8 months, that has a terminally ill mother, that is a responsible citizen, that is loves her little store, goes to it dutifully, smiles at everybody, and then all of a sudden, poof, she's gone. She's out of habit. No matter what was going on in her life, Emma made her appearance at that store. Those people, to me, are what kept Emma functionable. When you're in a depressed and in an abusive state like that, you have to have some type of outlet to be able to function. Tracy Martin, the Commonwealth's attorney in Halifax County, just a week ago, I messaged her on the behalf of Shauna requesting medical examiner records. She refused. She's refused everything. She's done nothing but procrastinate, stick a pacifier in, if you will, but she will not make any attempts or efforts to bring what is the most common and actually all the evidence proves towards the number one suspect, which would be the spouse. Even with the history that they can pull and they can see, this person is still allowed to walk around Halifax County and socialize. That he's not even been named the number one suspect. There's a problem in Halifax County. A lot of things come, and I'm going to get real poignant here. A lot of things come to a complete stop with Captain Mike Womack. Mike Womack. As I was saying, Mike Womack did the exact same thing. Everything has kind of come to a dead end halt with him. He even went so far as to make a statement to a family member. I respect the man. I have never in my life ever heard a law official make a statement to the fact that they respect a potential murderer. If that doesn't bring a new dawning onto this situation, I don't know what does. There's some major problems. There is the inadequacy to be able to do this. Emma has the proof. The problem is we got to get Tracy Quackenbush on board with whatever her downfall is or her excuses to be able to not try to bring this court. I mean, she's used everything. She couldn't wait for COVID to come into the point and play, which gave her even more excuse to put this off. You know what? Emma's 3 years gone. 3 years of family. Her sister. I have watched. I have listened to her bawl, her cry, sleepless nights. She wants justice. She deserves justice. Emma was a victim. He is in no way the victim. And there is no way that Captain Mike Womack nor Tracy Quackenbush are entitled to play judge, jury, and executioner. They do not get to decide the fate of what happens with Emma. That is not up to them. Their job is to bring him to justice so that he can face a jury of his peers from Halifax County or whoever. We'll say whoever, because, I'm not supposed to do that with the investigation. But
right now, 3 years.
They're supposed to
Get
bring
it all off.
the person to
Get it
justice.
out there.
Emma deserves that. If the people aren't upset about their hard-earned tax dollars that they're working and paying for building Tracy Quackenbush, roughly a $500,000 to $1 million office, for the fact that she's not representing them, I don't know what is, because Emma is one of them. Emma is no different than any of you all. Emma was you all. And think to yourself, why do you think that you would be treated any different if it were you? You wouldn't be. If it was your child, your mother, your sister, wouldn't you want justice? Wouldn't you want Tracy to do something? Wouldn't you want Captain Womack? Would you really want him to say he respected the number one suspect? I don't think so.
And how far was the body found?
This is a very tedious situation right now, and a lot of people are scared. Am I scared? No. Am I cautious? Absolutely. Have I taken the necessary precautions? 100%. But it's not going to stop me from speaking up and trying to do the right thing, and that's what we need people to do. And I appreciate your efforts as a governor-elect for the Republican.
I hope to be that, but
nomination. I totally respect and give my hats off to you. Like I told you, you're godsend. Emma needs this coverage. Emma's name needs to be in everybody's mouth in Halifax County every day. This person does not need to be able to feel comfortable in their own home. And in the meantime, I need people to bombard Tracy's office. And I mean bombard it. I mean every day. Every day. Write, call, demand.
I'm going to make sure I play.
Allow, why not? What is the excuse for not allowing outside help? There is absolutely nothing, no reason why they would not want outside help if they can't get this murder solved. And obviously they can't. It's 3 years later. So are we mad? Yes. Hell yes, we're mad. Am I mad? Yeah, I'm mad. There's a lot of things in my life that I would rather be doing than trying to do what already should have been done with people of common decency. But, obviously.
Go ahead and speak on it. It's okay. I'm like, I know this is a very emotional type of interview. This deals with a murder that's unsolved, that's close to everybody. She used to be married to one of the suspects in this matter. And at this time period, y'all hearing it from the family directly
Okay, I'm
about what's
back.
happening. Okay, please
They're
continue.
showing their true character. And I tell you what, people of Halifax, you ain't got a whole lot there representing you. So, there's a lot of things about your county. Some things I'm free to talk about, some things I'm not. But let's put it like this. There's not a lot of federal mandates going on, watching what's going on in your county. And they don't want outside help. And when somebody's that way, you better wonder what's happening. Because you got a little bit of the good old boy scenario going on. Good old boy is not necessarily the term good applies. Emma was a human. Emma was one of you, like I said. If she doesn't deserve justice, then how can any of you say that you deserve justice? Speak up. Get out there and demand that she get it. The woman was strangled to death. This was released in the papers. This is nothing I'm doing that is not information that's not already been made public. She was strangled to death and thrown in a very shallow grave right outside of a cow pasture. She was left to lay June, July, August, September, October, November, into November. This was a woman. This was somebody's daughter. This was somebody's sister that was thrown away like trash by an individual who had no right to do that. If that doesn't make you angry, I just don't know what to say. And if that doesn't make you angry in the town of Halifax, I don't know what to say on that either. Because somebody needs to get off of their ass and get to work. And if they can't do it, they need to let people that come in that can. And that's bottom line. And I wish I could hear you talking, Mr. Rutledge, because I feel like I'm taking this whole thing over. And, that was not my intention. I appreciate you allowing me the opportunity to be able to put this out here and speak on behalf of her sister Shauna and for Emma. I'm not hearing anything but myself talk, but and I've vented a lot, and I wish that I could hear your voice so that you could pose questions of things that were unanswered, that needed answers. But all I can say is people think roughly 125, 30 pounds, midnight, 5 foot tall, after midnight, sometime between there and the next morning. A mile long driveway approximately. The only thing missing, her. The only other person there, him. Do you want some crayons and a piece of paper to go with that? I don't think so. I give y'all a whole lot more credit than they do. Help us help her. Help us help you. Because this ain't going to be the last. This won't be the last thing that takes place violent in Halifax. That's just not the way life works. And if you really want to look at it, Halifax is almost at the top in the state, in the whole flipping state of Virginia. Your little rural community is right up there at the top of unsolved murders. Now, per population, do you realize what that is? You have Hattie Brown still missing. Her bones have still never been found. The land that Emma was found on is an unsolved murder. I mean, we could go on for days and days and days, but you need to look it up and do the homework yourself. You're living in this area. It's your responsibility to do your homework to find out what's living next door to you. Protect yourself. Protect your neighbor. Protect the people who serve your community. She served your community with a smile every day, 7 days a week. You were what kept her afloat. You were her bright spot in her day.
Yeah.
Be hers.
And you're saying that you have faced numerous roadblocks during this time frame trying to get justice for Emma Compton, um, and to know that the body was only found a short distance from her husband's house. Her husband did not call or report that she was missing. Um, and basically, y'all became suspicious after you didn't hear from Emma, which was, of course, unusual for that amount of time for somebody to be gone. And now it seems like
I'm
the
here.
police and more, yes, I'm here. And so now it seems like the prosecutor and more is holding up this investigation. And now y'all don't have justice. This is years later after the fact. And now y'all stuck in limbo trying to get answers from the prosecutor, Tracy Martin, and she's not responding back. Now, y'all asked for several different reports, in other words, about the forensic exam, the fingernails of Emma Compton, because y'all determined basically this is a homicide. There was a struggle, and y'all knew Emma to fight back if somebody attacked her. So, can you elaborate more on that part as well? And I want to say this happened in Halifax County. I read several of the news articles in regards to this matter. At the time frame when the remains was found, they took it as priority. And sometimes with these type of cases and stuff like that, and given what she's discussing right now out there, that
I'm
there may
here.
be more story why this
Thank you,
prosecution has
everybody,
started.
for coming to this broadcast. I don't know how much Mr. Rutledge
Continue,
got to show,
continue.
but I hope you
Definitely.
all heard
I
loud
want
and
you to get
clear.
everything out there.
We need you. She needs you. You need you. You need you for whatever events are going to take place in the future. Crime doesn't stop. Unfortunately, it looks like crime is actually getting worse. There are more break-ins. You just had Liberty Mini Market robbed again. There are more lives that's going to die in your community. Speak out before it's you. Thank you so much. And you
is happening all over the place. And I know when Robin was talking, this is taking a toll on the family and more. This is an unsolved murder, a homicide, and nobody has been held accountable. And from what's being said, from what you just heard from Robin, and it's so many affected by this matter, because how safe do you feel that if something happens to you, this is how they would handle your murder investigation? And to see the emotion come from Robin, and of course I'm talking to other family members, I'm not putting their names out there, only due to the fact at this time period it may compromise their investigation or their method of looking for justice. But we need to all be on board knowing exactly that we cannot give up just because it appears that a prosecutor may have given up or a case has went cold. It's clear that what I have gathered is the body of Emma Compton was discovered by a hunter out in the woods in a shallow grave. And it was found, I believe it was found in November of 2017, but she went missing in June 2017. And at that time period, it was a lot of suspicion circulating about whether her husband, which of course would be the police first direction, had any involvement in the murder. It is my understanding that the husband has failed 2 polygraph tests, which would have caused a heightened state of alarm on whether the husband was involved or not. The next thing is the body was found very close to the residence where she lived. I think a couple of 100 yards away. And that is highly suspicious. And the last time people seen her alive was leaving from the business that she owned called Cody's Store. And what also stuck out to me was the fact that, according to, of course, what we are hearing, her phone, her wallet, certain things that you'll take with you, even walking outside or going to the store, was all in the house with her husband. So the question is, you knew the cell phone or the way to contact her is inside the house, and she hasn't came back, she hasn't gathered her things or nothing. And to have somebody not report them missing is highly suspicious. Now, there is allegations out there that there is other suspicious activity going on with the husband that police have basically ignored. We know that there has been allegations of abuse, not only in Emma Compton's marriage. Of course, those charges were dismissed, which is common when a couple gets back together. But this also occurred in his previous relationships, abuse, to the point that people left, for their safety and under emergency shelter conditions, meaning my life is more important than staying in that relationship. So we have a pattern of abuse. We have a body of Emma Compton found a couple of 100 yards from the house in a shallow grave. We have her personal belongings that most would take with them, the phone, her wallet, other personal items were in the house. So it would have been clear that nobody could make contact with her unless she got another cell phone or whatever have you. But it doesn't make sense that on that particular day, all her stuff is left in the house. And now, months later, she's found dead. The husband does not report she's missing to the police. And the only way she becomes reported as missing is that family that normally hear from Emma within a certain amount of time, had not heard from her. And family had came to the residence to find out why they haven't heard from her, what was going on. And at the house of her husband, the allegation is that a certain area of the house, which was a basement, looked like a struggle or altercation occurred from their eyewitness account. And to say that the gentleman failed 2 polygraph tests, that would be a sense of alarm. But of course, we know polygraph tests are not used or allowed to be admissible in the court of law. But to say the least, when it comes down to these type of murders, justice has to be done swiftly. And I understand the family's concerns in regards to this matter. It's gut wrenching. I have read some of the emails that came through in regards to conversations that have occurred in the meantime. And the biggest question I have gathered from most officials in the area that the case is in Tracy Martin's hands, meaning the evidence is there. So what's taking it so long to make it towards a grand jury? What is the complications of this case? And that's why I was saying sometimes when there's conflicts of interest or certain matters that may be being protected by what I call the deep state in Halifax County, then you're seeing what we are seeing now. We are seeing a special young lady loved by her family and more that just wants justice, and they just want to know what's going on with this case. They want people to speak out and say what they know. Get involved. This could be your daughter. This could be your sister. And to know that she was strangled from what they are gathering. So we know a struggle happened, and they classified it as a homicide. And of course, the husband could be not guilty, but it begs the question of the fact of why nobody reported her missing, especially the husband, except for the family. The body was found a couple of 100 yards from his residence. And as you can see on this map, that circle is the general vicinity of where the body was found from satellite images. And this occurred in Halifax County. Several investigators have been following up on this case. And I want you to see her smile. See the good times when she's happy. Of course, you can tell she loves a dog. And you can tell that she was full of life, a business owner, hard worker. And to say how this murder happened and there's nobody being arrested or charged in connection to it, this is exactly what this family wants. They want justice. That's all they want. And I encourage anybody who has information in regards to this crime, I encourage you to contact the prosecutor, contact the police. If you're really, really worried about your confidentiality, you're more than welcome to contact me. I respect people's confidentiality all the way. It's all about justice, and it's always a piece to the puzzle that needs to be put into play. And that piece is exactly what's needed to solve this case. And the question is, how much does Tracy Martin know about this murder? What information did police turn over to her? And why has she not went before a grand jury to seek charges or indictment in this gruesome murder? So, to all, I want you to look at this young lady smiling, full of life, and one day in the middle of the night, after coming home from work, being taken into the woods, to be strangled to death and left there to die. And nobody able to find her for months later. And she was only a few hundred yards away from her home when she was found. This is an unsolved murder, a vicious murder. And the family wants justice. So if you have any information, maybe you didn't remember then, but now you remember something, speak up about it. Speak up what you were doing during that time frame. And speak up for what you saw and what made you suspicious of what was going on. This murder must be solved. And we will be doing everything to help, assist, and try to bring justice to a family that has been long denied. And this lady right here, her name is Tracy Martin, right here. And as you can see, her office in June 5th, 2018, after the murder, after the body was found, her office was upgraded and approved to the tune of $1.4 million to prosecute cases and to make it more aesthetically pleasing. But the fact is, no justice has been done for Emma Compton, the woman that you're seeing right now. If you have any information about the death or any events of that day that may be helpful to this investigation, please come forward. Please make sure this family has justice. No murderer, no matter who you are, should be walking the streets. And this young lady that's so loved by our family is still not able to walk the same streets in peace. And right now, the family nor Emma Compton is resting peacefully without closure of knowing that her killer or killers have been brought to justice. This occurred in Halifax County, Virginia. Robin laid out exactly what has been going on with this case, and I encourage anybody with information, look at her. This could be your sister. This could be your friend. This could be somebody's mother. Strangled to death, left in a shallow grave, and found months later dead, a lifeless body, and the family that had to find out that she was never going to call them, speak to them, or hear from her ever again. And that's exactly what Merle Rutledge, exactly what Virginia should all be about. And that's putting her killer away for the rest of their life because she was not able to live her life. And the woman responsible for prosecuting this case is right here, Tracy Q. Martin of the Halifax County Commonwealth Attorney's Office. And she has the file in her hand. And the question is, why hasn't she brought justice to this family? And if you would like to contact her, we are putting up her email address and her phone number and her fax number. And we are encouraging everybody in the Halifax County community and those all across Virginia to email her, call, and say, we want justice for Emma Compton, and we demand that this happens, and for her to bring whatever evidence that has been gathered by investigators for a grand jury. So the person who police and the family feel is responsible can be brought to justice for a trial facing their peers, and the due process of law and the highest extent of the law and standards are exercised and executed in this case. We all deserve justice. You can see her email address. You can share this video. It's T as in Tony, Q as in Q as in Quake, M as in Michael, at co.halifax.va.us. This is exactly our email address and the best way for the public to become active in finding out who is responsible for the murder of Emma Compton. My name is Merle Rutledge. You heard from a close friend of the family that has been through the thick and thin of trying to get justice for this young lady. Robin was also abused physically and had to leave from the same husband, Emma Compton, from a previous marriage. And at this time period, all roads have been pointed in his direction as far as the allegations, and no other suspects have been named or has been considered involved in this murder. But what we do know is why was Emma Compton murdered, and why has no law enforcement official, especially the Commonwealth attorney, after the file had been turned over to her, has not tried this case. Questions that she must answer. And given her history and pattern of handling some of the most serious cases, we have seen a consistent pattern of justice being denied or delayed to families. So look at this lady. If you have any information on the death of Emma Compton, please come forward. Like I said, if you come to me, you will have full confidentiality, and we will make sure that we follow up and make sure that we can help and bring in justice back to the family so they can have closure. So everybody pray for the family, pray for healing and comfort during this time frame, and also pray that they have the closure that will be coming in the future, with the right people being held accountable for any involvement in the murder of Emma Compton in Halifax County, Virginia. My name is Merle Rutledge. I am the 2021 candidate for governor of Virginia, but today I'm a private citizen wanting justice for the Emma Compton family. And you have a good night. And thank you for listening to this special broadcast.